But you know, most of the time people did not tell Prabhupada the full story. And one other thing, since I'm thinking of it, when they did, Prabhupada always wanted to rectify it right away. He didn't want to let it fester. For instance, the people from Hawaii who weren't initiated at the time, Siddha Swarupananda's folks, came to New York, and I had already hosted them in London, and they wanted to buy some books, over $300 worth. So I said, sure, I sold them. So the next day, someone told on me to Prabhupada that he had sold those books to the people in Hawaii. So Prabhupada, like many times before, got all the parties together. And he said, I'll give the name because it's personal rather than slandering. He said, he looks at me and says, Bhavananda says that you have sold over $300 worth of books to the people in Hawaii. And then he says, they are reading my books? And he does a mock thing like that. And they are chanting the holy name? And Bhavananda wanted to crawl under the cushion. So what I liked about Prabhupada is, rather than backbiting and this kind of thing, he'd get all the parties together, bring it out in the open. This was done all the time. People would get read. Oh, such and such says that you're da-da-da. So I like that very much.
And this was in the last few days of his life, actually. Unknown to me, of course. I kept thinking there was Prabhupada was going to blow us away by just all of a sudden, one day just saying, okay, it's, okay, enough of that, I'm back to full life. So he, that particular morning, I started. Oh, it was he had stopped my harmonium playing the day before, so I was shy. I didn't know whether I should play it again because I didn't know why he had stopped me. Just thought maybe that the sound itself was somehow annoying, irritating. So then I would just chant without harmonium. But then on that particular morning, I ventured one more time to try to play the harmonium. But this time I played a tune that I hadn't played, that I hadn't heard for a long time. I hadn't played for a long time, but it was one of the first sort of unusual tunes that Prabhupada had recorded. It was recorded a long time ago, somewhere either in Boston or New York or someplace, and it was this Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Very unusual and soulful, and it's not, can't place it in any particular cult. It was just spontaneous, something that was just Prabhupada's own unusual sound, where it was coming from his heart somewhere. And so that morning I began by playing that tune. I don't recall Prabhupada stirring at all. I mean, there were days when he was just completely motionless. Couldn't even tell that he was awake or asleep or what. Just motionless. And he had been fasting for months now, months. I mean, just living on little water and pomegranate juice, occasional something, but really fasting. And but yet every day he would set aside some time for dictation. Even if he couldn't sit up, they would hold the microphone, to his mouth, and Prabhupada would continue dictating the translations and purports of Srimad Bhagavatam. Kept on going. But that morning, he was motionless. It was early morning hours, and suddenly I looked up. I noticed he had motioned to one of his attendants. I think it was Nanda Kumar at the time. So Nanda Kumar or Shrutakirti. They asked him, or maybe it was Giriraj. They took turns to ask, and yeah, but he wanted to sit up. He sat up. And as I was chanting it, he began clapping his hands like this. It was like it was slow motion, but it was very definite, right on beat. And he would nod his head in approval. It was such a reward, such a wonderful thing, you know, and that he, hearing that, it was like, it's hard to say, it was like, I don't know, it was the best reward I could have asked for. So that tune, was, you know, has a very, very special weight, you know, for me.